¿Listo?
Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Bob Stanley with the Freos project, KryptinetClub. I'm going to apologize that I have made a series of very low production quality videos just using my phone and fairly primitive technology. I'm not going to be able to change that for this round, but I am hoping that this video will provide rather more clarity, brevity, and a kind of more complete picture to all of what my mission is all about. So what I'm going to do today is first I'm going to talk a little bit about the big problem that we face, because it's important we recognize what we're up against. Second, that big problem creates a huge opportunity for those who are awake and nimble, and I'm going to explain why that opportunity must be seized from an eternal point of view, and how it works. So next we're going to delve into the topic of what is a double blind transaction proxy. That is what the Freos solution is. This is a technology that, while I consider it somewhat obvious, I sort of invented back in 1998 at a company called Global Network Privacy. But anyway, we'll get into what that is. And then I'm going to talk about my project, Freos, how it is the best double blind transaction proxy hosted on unstoppable decentralized technology. And the last little bit will be for interested angel investors only, and the rest of you could skip that. So let's jump into it. So what's going on in the world? Well, there's all sorts of different camps and speculations, whether there's good guys and bad guys. I'm not going to get into all of that. What everyone is in complete agreement on, all insiders, all players in the market, is that the current system, the dollar and fiat, euro, yen, ruble, the current system of currency in the world is completely bankrupt and is going down. Okay, there's no doubt about that. There's no way to grow our way out of it. They're creating debt hand over fist right now, every country on the planet basically, because they all know the music is going to stop soon, might as well seize all the riches. And it's why you see so much incredibly stupid self-destructive behavior. You've seen corporations, major corporations, doing the thing that, I mean, if you tried to piss off your customer base, you couldn't have done better than they did, on purpose, to both show their loyalty to the club, and because they know that shareholder value and such old-fashioned notions like that aren't going to matter anymore as soon as the system crashes. Okay, now I'll just give one little caveat, that if any of you are still heavily invested in the system, in instruments that have the dollar sign in front of them, particularly debt instruments, if you're holding bonds or even government bonds, treasury bills, bonds, etc., and you're holding the debt of others, it's all going to go to zero. All these financial institutions are going to close down the same day. So it doesn't matter what financial instrument you say you think you have money in the bank. They're taking your checking account, your savings account, your CDs, probably your safe deposit box. Okay, and they're going to do it all legally, because that's what the shutdown rules allow. So again, that's my last warning. If you're still heavily in the old system, get out of it. Now, what's going to happen is I don't know if you saw yesterday, the Federal Reserve announced they're going to do another 25 basis point increase, so we're up to 5.5 points on money. If you followed all of the banking crisis from earlier this year, it was all caused specifically by that, because all of these very conservative banks were holding nothing but treasury bills that were paying 2%. And they are seriously underwater on those, so all of a sudden their liquidity was questioned, and any bank gets its liquidity questioned, it's dead. So another big round of banks are going to fall, and one of these days it's going to be one that's systemic, that's big enough that it crashes the whole system. And if you watch the shenanigans in the silver market, it's probably the most proximate driver of what's going to happen, because they're trying desperately to keep silver and the cryptos in check. On the bullion front, they're losing control at the LBMA and at the COMEX. The shorts are trying, their old games of let's all buy short and silver will go down, and people are waking up, and it's not working the way it used to. So anyway, this opportunity, or this event, is going to be tragic for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to see their wealth completely confiscated, see their assumptions completely shattered, and have a lot of trouble. Now, other people who have prepared, they're actually going to see it as, in some ways, a good thing, because especially if they had a huge mortgage on their McMansion and are underwater on it, well, that debt, anything denominated in dollars, you could say it's been jubileed. It really just means, the bank doesn't care if you pay it back or not, because it's worthless. Okay, that's what's going to happen with the hyperinflationary debt spiral. It's just that because this is global and there's no other options except what we'll get into, it's going to happen in like 48 hours around the world. All of these companies are banks, central banks, they're all going to shut their doors within a matter of a week. Now, between that and the vast numbers of, let's just call them sudden unexpected deaths because of the death vaccines, a whole lot of people are going to die and suffer, and there's going to be chaos and pandemonium in many places in the world, and it will give us the opportunity to quietly slip off the radar. It will give us the opportunity to secede from this shit show and avoid the carnage that's going to come, both with this shit show and what's coming after. So I want to briefly talk about what's coming after, because there's certainly lots of debate and speculations. The doomsayers say, Klaus Schwab is going to win, and we're going to get this all live in micro houses, eating bugs, and we'll be happy in our poverty or in servitude. Right? I'm not in that camp. I think that in fact the MAGA forces are going to get back in control. However, it's important to remember that these people are statists. Even Q. Q is 8 out of 10 military guys who are, lovers of pyramids and power. They like everybody to have a boss, and them be able to find the right place on the chain to push someone's button. And they're not anarchists or voluntarists or libertarians. Okay? They want a strong U.S. national government, strong military, and they want close the borders and so on. While I see some light in all of that, I want to make clear that if this is battle between good and evil, and what's happening right now is the really evil pedophile kakistocracy is being taken out, I'm okay with that part. But what I'm warning you is what's coming after will still lead you directly to the mark of the beast system. Okay, and so whether you're a fan of China's social credit score system, or you know enough about it that you want to avoid that and never have anything to do with such a system, or all of the various other flavors of the technocratic omnivision surveillance state. I can tell you from a technology perspective, I've been studying this stuff for 25 years, I'm an expert at it. All the pieces are there. Every single piece they need to turn the internet into, put us all under a microscope and treat us like test victims. Okay. So the opportunity, though, is in the next year and a half, billions of people are going to die and disappear, and businesses are going to be shattered, and lives are going to be lost. We have the opportunity, or I'll say specifically you people have the opportunity, to secede from paying taxes to whatever national government you're doing anymore. Now you'll still pay bridge tolls and sales tax at the local store, but and I'm talking about income tax. to be able to earn your income in cryptocurrency in a huge market of people doing the same, living their lives in cryptocurrency. Okay, so we'll get more into the solution in just a second. Okay, so what is needed if you want to accept crypto income safely? Well, most of you played around with crypto think, well, that's easy, I just send somebody my wallet and they send it to me and I've got it. But if you've discovered what's been going on in the world, especially in the proof of work based chains, especially Bitcoin, is there's a massive new field of crypto computer cybernetic or cyber forensics, where they can go back and look at the blockchain and say, oh, well, a long time ago you did this transaction that identified this wallet as being yours. Now all these subsequent transactions, we know you made that money. And the IRS, as you may have heard, has hired 87,000 new agents, no doubt plenty of whom are going to be trying to crack the code on how do we make these people who are making huge upside in crypto pay income tax on it. Okay, so what you discover is for you to do it yourself is a little complicated. Yes, you could try and replicate what I've got, which is you could put up a website that generates a brand new spontaneous wallet for you that then in the background behind the scenes transfers to another wallet that you've designated. But if you've ever set up a website before, you know that involves paying money and registering and KYC to have the website. Plus, the machine is starting to take websites out. I don't know if you followed the story of Gab.ai or Gab.com now, but it's very enlightening as to how they were basically thrown off the front page internet. Gab, they not only shadow banned them and restricted them and threw them off of Twitter. Then when Gab came up with their own Twitter replacement, they took away their title, Gab.ai, in a bizarre move. So the internet is getting more and more hostile to us, and we have to take steps. Now, luckily, a theme that you'll find is recurring throughout all of my videos and everything I say is that the battle of decentralized versus centralized technology has long ago been won. Okay, if you think of decentralized tech as the simple mathematical model is, it is raising the economic cost of censoring a statement, an idea, a service, or whatever, by putting it on enough servers that the king, despite him being an evil fink, no king has enough horses and men to take out all those servers at once. Okay, and you might remember, Napster, when kids started sharing music, and then Napster got taken down. They raided their one central facility and stole all the servers and arrested the people and put them all in cages, and Napster died. But at the very same time, something called BitTorrent and all sorts of other torrent-related technology, which is peer-to-peer, you may have heard that term, technology, which means there's not any place, in a data center underground in New York where the thing is running. It's running in software on every client, the PC of every user of this technology. Okay, so peer-to-peer technology and some of the other things being done in decentralized tech have so clearly won this battle. Of course, the most easily to point out example of that is cryptocurrency. The reason Satoshi published the white paper anonymously is because this was not the first experiment in what we now call cryptocurrencies. There had been plenty of them, but they all got with a nail that was sticking up, and they got hit with the big hammer. They all got smashed. And it's because they were known, they were public, they were not anonymous, and they didn't get deployed to critical mass and get public opinion on their side before the hammer came down. So if you look at David Chaum and DigiCash and the whole history of that, Satoshi had to be anonymous. Now, if you think because politicians sometimes say good things about crypto, that the bankers and politicians have not been terrified of cryptocurrency, you're completely wrong. They know what it is. Cryptocurrency is an existential threat to their entire empire of fake money. And they've known it from the beginning, and they've tried everything they could to kill it. But Satoshi's vision was superb. Get enough people incented to run my software on thousands of nodes in hundreds of countries around the world, and no king can shut it down. Look at how many times the Chinese have said crypto's forbidden, and the Chinese people are still basically among the biggest players in the whole world. So decentralized tech is already real. So let me get back then to what is a double blind transaction proxy. And short answer is it's someone who sits between you and the seller in you receiving cryptocurrency. It is a proxy for the transaction. Now, if you think about, back in the old world of dollars, if you had a website and you wanted to sell t-shirts or sell your videos or just get donations, you had to go with Visa or MasterCard or PayPal or one of these other things, and all of them charge at least 3% and many more than that for helping you get currency. Sorry for the noise. Viva la Mexico. So, but what Freos charges is maximum 2% on transactions, and we provide anonymity and privacy that no one will ever know who the seller is in that transaction. The buyer can see the seller's reputation score, see that he, other customers like his products or goods or services, but he never can see who the seller really is unless the seller wants to promote his own name. Everybody's anonymous in this system, and all transactions are final, complete, and in crypto cash. So they're just done. Now, Freos takes 2% on every transaction. However, 1.5 of that goes to a role that we call the ambassador, for the account, and that is basically who convinced you to sell your goods or services through Freos and put create an offer and put it in our system. Now, ambassadors are how we'll expand to every country in the world and have local language support for all the people in the world, because somebody from Lithuania is going to sign up to be an ambassador for Vilnius, and they're gonna translate all of our stuff into Lithuanian and provide a hand-holding and support for people that want. Anybody that wants to, that figures this out, can also be their own ambassador, which means that when a transaction happens, 98% of the money goes to your transaction account, your seller's account, but the other 1.5 goes to you as your own ambassador. So in that circumstance, Freos is only charging 0.5%, and what we're providing in return is anonymity and trust that you don't have to trust us. You can trust Freos because we require you to remain anonymous to us. We require you to connect to Freos using Tor Tails, some of our other technologies, and we're moving very quickly to a new model, but we will not allow identifying information to even come to us, so that we have no KYC with you whatsoever. And we have open source code. You can verify it all. We will have lots of people who will take a look at our stuff and confirm this is the case. But the point is, you don't have to worry about can you trust Freos, because you're not giving us any of your information. We won't let you do it. At this point, you have a secret folder that only you can access that you point where do you want your crypto to go, and no one on Earth can connect you to that wallet and knows you have that money. Not your employer, not your previous employer, not your soon-to-be ex-wife, not every IRS court on the planet, someone suing you. No one knows you have that money, and certainly nobody can get it, including us. Okay, so you might ask yourself, that makes a lot of sense. Just having somebody sitting in between you on transactions that can't screw you, that's definitely worth a half a point. Now, the other thing is Freos will also offer our own ambassadorship. Okay, and this is basically for bigger users of Freos, for people who want hand-holding from corporate, who want the best customer service we've got, and most importantly, anybody who wants any input into the development of the next version, version 3 of our app and so on, needs to be a Freos concierge member, concierge service. So we'll make additional revenue from that 1.5%. Okay. The next thing is what we can build once we have this plumbing in place. And what we're building is KryptinetClub. Okay. And it is the next step in this model of proxy. So if you've ever done any traveling, international traveling especially, you know that it's pretty much impossible to do such traveling without substantial KYC everywhere you go. You go to a hotel or Airbnb or anybody there wanting a picture of your passport, you know, they definitely want to deal with who you are, and they want you paying with a credit card, and they want to have all that information. So it's hard to move around the world discreetly and privately. With KryptinetClub, we will provide access. We're going to take over and control some of the most gourmet houses in the Acapulco Bay Area initially. We'll very quickly to be moving to other cities. My next ones, because of my past, are going to be in Birmingham, Alabama, and Orange Beach, Alabama, the most beautiful beaches in the United States, just because I like it there. But there will very soon be KryptinetClubs clubs everywhere. You will literally be able to contact us. We will send for private air transportation that will bring you directly from your nearest airport to Acapulco. We'll pick you up in private security. We'll take you to a gourmet house where we provide, if you think about you're staying at the Ritz-Carlton downtown, you have that level of service, but you have it in your own house. So you have access to 24/7 gourmet chefs. They'll cook basically anything you want. You have access to all of these clubs in town that we will convince. We'll go to the best restaurants in town and convince them to use their spare room in the back where they, sometimes have wedding parties. It'll be a private club for Freos KryptinetClub members only. And so you'll be able to say, I want to go visit Mexico, but I don't want to be chased around by the paparazzi. I don't want anyone to see me. I'm concerned about kidnapping because I'm a crypto whale. All those kinds of reasons mean that we can insulate you from every bit of that. You can come to Mexico, have a gourmet experience, and not ever be directly face-to-face with anyone other than KryptinetClub employees. And you can even say all you want is your hot little concierge girl to talk to, and no one else. So a couple other things about what we're doing with the product. The big challenge throughout this whole thing, and you might ask yourself, if this is such a cool idea, Bob, why isn't anybody else doing it? And I'll be honest that I've been racking my brain for 5 years, and some of my earliest, smartest angels, they identified this as the biggest risk too. They said, how are we going to protect others from copying this? And I said, all I can do for sure is we're going to move faster than they are, but it's very difficult to protect an idea like this. All it takes is somebody deploying a double blind transaction proxy on hardware that can't be shut off. Now, that turns out to be a bigger challenge than initially thought, and it caused a lot of our delays. At the beginning, we were going to run on EOS, and you might recall in 2018, EOS had just launched that year, big go-live day for mainnet, and it was a big deal, and there was a lot of hope that it was going to change everything. That kind of got shattered by I think, deliberate malfeasance of Block One and the war that caused with Dan Larimer and so on. But I'm not going to get into all of that. But anyway, we had to pass on EOS. Too complicated, too slow, not ready. Next, we heard great things about Dash platform, Dash evolution, and that coming. However, it's been massively delayed. It's just now. Evolution is just now going live, but it's still not ready for prime time. We can't wait. So our plan was, while we were waiting for one of those two or some other suitable hosting platform for dApps to really mature is we were going to play whack-a-mole. You know, we were going to host in Estonia, in Finland, and other places that have shown a long history of telling global politicians, you know, they're not going to turn over their customers. But you know, that whack-a-mole still means, well, eventually they will. You know, they'll show up with enough Interpol agents to shut it down and seize the servers, and they would have probably been taking some of my friends to jail. You know, while I would have sent lawyers guns and money, I don't want that to happen. Thankfully, once again, the wonderful world of decentralized technology has come through. You might want to investigate a project called Quartal. It's Qortal, and it's the coolest stuff out there. Quartal is Internet version 4. It is basically saying we're running our own internet and we'll only attach to yours when it's useful for us, but otherwise, you know, we're going to be in charge of our own domains in the world, and none of your shenanigans like you pulled with Gap to try and shut us down will work. So there's a lot of other things about Quartal that I can go into in another video, but it's very exciting news. It means we're ready to rock right now and deploy. So at this point, I'm going to talk specifically about where Freos sits financially. What is the opportunity? So if you like what we're doing but don't have any interest in hearing about investing, it's time to click, hopefully click like and share this video. If you'd like to continue, there's a huge opportunity. So first I should talk a little bit about how the money works in KryptinetClub. So I mentioned that, you know, we're making on every single transaction, Freos is making 0.5%. Okay, so just that alone, if you think that on average, the people that we're recruiting into this crypto life or world are above average intelligence, certainly above average awakeness, and you know, we think that it's fair to say after a certain startup period, they'll all be making an average of 60 grand a year, 5 grand a month. Now, certainly many won't. Many will be living on less than that, but bear in mind also that single members will also be bars, restaurants, doctors' offices, architect businesses that will be making substantially more. So it's a defendable number. There's no point in arguing about it because you'll see the math is staggering either way. At just 0.5%, someone accepting crypto payments from customers of $60,000 a year or $5,000 a month makes us 25 bucks a month off that person. So at only 1,000 customers, we're making 25 grand to cover very limited costs. Somewhere around $80,000 we will have made enough in transactions in just this 80,000 members. We will be making enough every month that we will break even for all of our customers. So the way the angel program works is this. People that give me money now, and have been giving me money for the last 5 years now, some of them I've certainly been waiting a long time, and I apologize this has taken so long, but it certainly hasn't been because of lack of effort on my part. It's just they've managed to continue kicking the can down the road, and that sucks, but it is what it is. So anyway, people that give me money now, it goes into the Angels and Founders pool. It's currently at about $1.6 million. I'd like to raise another 900K, so we'll close out at around $2.5 million. So just to make the math easy, if you say came up with 25,000 into 2.5 million means you have a full even percent of that pool. Every month, Freos makes revenue. 10% of that revenue, right off the top, is earmarked to go to this pool, and it gets distributed on the pool just like the math I just did, where your 25,000 will give you 1% of that money. The first time the amount, the 10%, is 2.5 million, which means Freos's gross revenue is 25 million, then that month will be ROI, or that will complete ROI for all of the angel investors, and everything that happens after that is perpetual passive income. No work required in an exponentially growing amount unless they manage to find a way to stop us. That's so obviously this is a staggering opportunity. To say we're going to start a company that's doing billions of dollars in revenue with 2.5 million, it's impossible. Well, this is where we get back to the question of why hadn't anyone else done this. Nothing that I'm doing is that complicated. We're really very much more a system integrator than writing some big new breakthrough complex piece of software. We run a transaction engine, we're just deploying it smartly. There's a lot of details on the security side, but the reason why no one else has done it is because they're afraid. I'm the only guy out here that's willing to say, I'm ready right now for, if $100,000 shows up, we will pull the trigger on go live and be live within 15 days, okay, on Portal where we can't be stopped. And there's still a lot more marketing and growth I can do if I have more money, but 100,000 pulls the trigger. So please get in touch with me right away. I had a great new angel come in, kind of put my life at peace, and got some wolves away from the door a little less than a week ago. He got the best ever incentive program ever. I've got one more of those left, and then the incentives will probably be going away as everyone comes in. So please call me as soon as possible. If you can't support me with crypto, please share this video. Just talk to your like-minded friends. Find your crypto whale buddies and find out if they want to live the gourmet lifestyle and yachts and mansions overlooking the Pacific in Acapulco. Thanks everybody for your time. I really appreciate it. See you.